My wife used our real estate portfolio to destroy me in divorce court. 7 rental properties worth $2 million became evidence that I was financially controlling. 3 years later, I'm living in a studio apartment, wondering how building wealth together turned into losing everything alone. I'm Robert, and I'm 79 years old. 3 years ago, a family court judge decided that everything Eleanor and I had built together, 7 rental properties, our family home, decades of savings, belonged more to her than to me. And maybe he was right. Maybe I spent so many years focused on accumulating wealth that I forgot to pay attention to the woman who was helping me build it. Here's what I've learned about losing everything. It's not really about the money. It's about discovering that the story you've been telling yourself about your life isn't the story other people experienced. For 43 years, I thought Eleanor and I were partners working toward the same goals. Turns out, she felt like my unpaid employee. I thought I was being responsible, building security for our future. She felt controlled, ignored, treated like household help rather than a wife. The thing about marriage is that you can live in the same house with someone for decades and be living in completely different realities. I saw a woman who was competent, reliable, who handled the rental properties beautifully while I focused on my electrical contracting business. She saw a husband who made all the financial decisions without consulting her, who valued properties more than experiences, who treated her contributions as support work rather than partnership. When Eleanor's lawyer painted me as controlling and money-obsessed, I was shocked. But then I started thinking about the conversations we'd had over the years. Every time Eleanor suggested selling a property to travel or help our daughter, I'd override her with financial arguments. Every time she wanted to spend money on family activities, I'd redirect toward investments. Every time she tried to have input on our financial decisions, I'd explain why my approach was better. I never thought I was controlling. I thought I was being practical. But control doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it looks like always having better reasons, always being the one with the final say, always prioritizing your vision of the future over your partner's needs in the present. The judge didn't just look at our assets and divide them equally. He looked at our marriage and decided that Eleanor had earned more than half through decades of managing properties, sacrificing her own career development, and putting up with what he called financial decision-making that excluded her voice. When you frame it that way, maybe she did deserve more. Sitting here now in this studio apartment, paying rent for the first time in 40 years, I keep thinking about a conversation Eleanor and I had in 1995. She wanted us to take our first real vacation, not a long weekend, but 2 weeks in Europe. We could afford it. The rental properties were doing well, my business was solid. But I said it was a waste of money, that we should put that $10,000 toward another property down payment instead. She didn't argue, she just got quiet, the way she always did when I shot down her ideas. At the time, I thought that meant she understood my reasoning. Now I realize it meant she'd given up trying to be heard. That's the thing about building wealth. It's easy to convince yourself that every sacrifice is worth it, that every no to present enjoyment is a yes to future security. But somewhere along the way, the future security became more important than the present marriage. I was so focused on building an impressive portfolio that I forgot to build an impressive relationship with my wife. The divorce court didn't just take my properties, it held up a mirror and showed me a man I didn't recognize. A man who'd spent 43 years treating his wife's dreams as less important than his financial goals. A man who'd built wealth but neglected the person he was supposedly building it for. I don't think Eleanor divorced me for my money. I think she divorced me because she finally realized that I valued the properties more than I valued her happiness. And when she tried to claim her share of what we'd built together, the court agreed that she'd earned it through years of unpaid labor and unacknowledged sacrifice. People ask me if I'm angry about losing everything. The honest answer is that I'm not angry about the money. I'm sad about the marriage. I'm sad that I spent 4 decades with a woman who felt unheard and unvalued, and I didn't realize it until she was testifying against me in court. The rental properties Eleanor got? She still manages them, and they're doing better than they ever did when I was involved. She's remarried now to a retired teacher who travels with her, who asks her opinion about decisions, who seems to understand that partnership means making room for both people's dreams. Our daughter Amy won't speak to me. She says Mom spent years trying to get my attention, trying to be included in decisions, trying to matter to me in ways that weren't just functional. Amy says she watched Mom become smaller and quieter over the years until the divorce gave her permission to become herself again. Maybe that's the real loss. Not the properties or the money, but the recognition that I'd been living with someone for 43 years without really seeing her. I saw what she did: managed tenants, collected rent, kept records. I didn't see who she was, a woman who wanted to experience life, not just accumulate assets. The studio apartment I live in now costs more per month than the mortgage payment on our first house. I have Social Security and a small pension, and it's enough for basic needs. I'm not suffering financially, just living much more modestly than I'd planned. But the real poverty is that I lost a family along with the fortune. If I could go back, I wouldn't make different investment decisions. I'd make different attention decisions. I'd listen when Eleanor talked about her dreams instead of explaining why those dreams weren't financially optimal. I'd ask her opinion about major purchases instead of presenting them as decisions I'd already made. I'd remember that marriage is supposed to be about building a life together, not about one person building wealth while the other person supports that mission. The divorce court didn't give her everything because she was greedy. It gave her everything because the judge decided she'd already given me everything: her prime working years, her career development, her financial autonomy, and deserved more than half of what we'd built together. Sitting here now, I think he might have been right. Eleanor invested 43 years of her life in our marriage, and for most of that time, she got rental property management duties and financial lectures in return. When someone contributes that much and gets that little recognition, maybe they do deserve the larger share when it's time to divide things up. The hardest part about losing everything isn't the financial adjustment. It's realizing that the person you thought you were isn't the person you actually were. I thought I was a good husband who worked hard to provide security. Eleanor experienced me as someone who controlled the money and dismissed her input. Both things can be true. I did work hard. I did build financial security. But I also made my wife feel invisible in her own marriage. And when it came time to account for that, the court decided that her years of feeling invisible were worth more than my years of earning money. I'm 79 years old, and I'm finally learning something I should have understood decades ago. Partnership isn't about having the same goals. It's about making sure both people get to participate in choosing those goals. I spent 43 years thinking Eleanor supported my vision because she didn't fight me on it. She wasn't supporting it. She was giving up. If you're married, if you're building wealth together, pay attention to whose dreams you're prioritizing. Ask yourself whether your partner feels like a partner or like support staff. Notice whether you're making decisions together or just explaining your decisions after you've made them. The properties are gone. The money is gone. But the lesson is crystal clear. You can't build lasting wealth on someone else's silence. Eventually, that silence will speak up, and when it does, you might find out that everything you thought you owned was actually borrowed. The divorce court didn't give her everything. I gave her everything. One dismissed dream at a time, over 43 years of marriage. The court just made it official.